Just arrived at Sutton Veney, and behind me here is the two tree formations with the crop circle in the middle. You can kind of see it over there, but the site is absolutely stunning. Right, so we're inside the circle, and upon first entry I can say that it does feel a little bit funky, whether that be goosebumps on the arm. I kind of feel like I've got butterflies in the stomach, but it is a beautiful location, and I'm not entirely sure whether that's to do with where we're at because it's so wonderful, or there's something more going on here. But upon first look, mate, like, these things are woven, the places or the areas that are, this is the main pathway that people have walked on, but looking at the overall sections of the inner knot, the outer knot, definitely being placed in such a way, there's no broken stems, okay, everything's just kind of been laid down, you know. In sections where people have walked on, you can see where it's kind of like popped, because you can see where the footprints are. But on overall analysis, just on like eye level, it's pretty impressive. Wow, look at this section here, look. The way it's just laid, look. It's like braided. That's so cool. There's an eagle up there. Bless. Look at him go. Right, I'm just about to observe and take a section of this to look at closely. Again, it's just a very small sample. Been given permission. There's a few bottle caps in here, which is quite funny. But we're going to just take a section to observe and look closer at. And again, all of these sections here, nothing's snapped, it's just pushed and placed. So if I can point here. So we've got a piece of the inside segment here. Cover that all back over so it's protected and covered. Right, first observation. Apart from digging it out, there's no breaking or snapping in the base section there, you see? It's been perfectly laid down and it looks very happy, this segment of the crop. Look at that. No sign of browning or stress. Very green and beautiful. It almost looks like it's thriving still. Incredible. These sections here look a bit more bulbous at the bases. They look swollen compared to some of the grain that's still standing, and I'll compare with that in just a moment for you. But look at it, beautiful. Look at this section here, how it's just kind of whooshed in again, done. There's a few areas that are kind of spiked up a little bit, but it's just phenomenal. There's nothing here that's snapped or suggesting anything else. Look at it, look at that, the formation, oh. Again, look at this section of the knotted area, look, oh my word. Absolutely incredible, it's just laid and woven. It's quite astonishing. First observations, the site itself, looking at the inside sections and the outer sections, no signs of stress, breakages, it seems quite happy. All the laid down crops are still very green, they don't seem aggravated, other than the sections where people have walked on, but other than that they seem quite happy and healthy. The ground smells quite coppery, iron almost, but whether that's to do with what's in the soil structure itself. I've been around wheat crops before and it's something that I haven't noticed until now. And again, the environment, birds such as crows, there's a few jackdaws flying around, there was a couple of herons, and there was woodpeckers as well. They seem to just be flying around the air, cawing and kind of making a bit of a racket. And no birds as of the moment, you can see them flying around, they're not flying into the centre of the crop circle itself. They're kind of being on the outside, they're not exactly coming in. But like I mentioned before, there is a drone flying around, but walking up here, probably about half a mile the whole way, the birds seem to be quite aggravated for whatever reason. So, I don't know. A section of it to kind of take note of. So we've got EMF detection now, and we're going to go in and around and just see there, which is the outer ring. Look at that. Let's see what happens. Point 11 at the moment. So it's jumped up to 17, 14. Right, I'm going to give you just a little brief rundown on the measurements I've taken of the crop circle itself, inside, on the outside circumference, and some of the main points inside as well. So, on the outside sections, so the circle all the way around from the top, bottom, left and right sides, they measure at 2.2 metres perfectly, all the way around. All the way around, it's 2.2 metres on the outside edge, right? And this doesn't fluctuate or differ, it's the exact measurement the whole way around. And on the inside sections where the knots are, on each corner, from the corner to the outside edge, corner to the outside edge, they measure from 1.2 to 1.3. So, in all, the measurements are only about 10 centimetres out, which is absolutely incredible accuracy for the size itself. The overall circle structure is about 75 metres in total in its circumference. It is huge. Now, on the Geiger counter readings, okay, I couldn't film the screen because for some reason it kind of bugged out on my camera, but I took some notes nonetheless, so take this as you will. So on the outside of the crop circle, we were reading on the Geiger counter, on the away from the crop circle, about 0.11, okay, 0.7, 0.11. Now, in the top section of the crop circle itself, specifically in these intersections here, it was reading 0.21. It spiked all along here, 0.21 significantly. Down the bottom, at this bottom section, it spiked to 0.31, okay, 0.32 on this bottom section here, so a little bit more intense. In the top sections where the points are, 0.27 average on the scale, and then we have a 0.28 average in the middle. Well, on the bottom section, sorry, here. And in the centre, I haven't noted it here, but it was about a 0.38 to a 0.40, okay, on what we were recording. So, very interesting. It spiked. Something to take note of. Right, Julius, would you like to introduce yourself and who you are and you own this land?
So I'm a farmer that farms here, and we farm on the edge of Somerset and around here, which we've been farming for about 350 years. And before that we farmed in Dorset. So we've always been farmers. And yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world. We're very lucky on a nice day.
Gorgeous crop as well, look at that.
Yeah, unfortunately it's one of our better crops.
Yeah.
It's been a very difficult growing season this year with a wet winter and a very dry spring. And we were quite upset when we came out here to see the crop had been flattened. However it happened. What a phenomenon, really.
Yeah, yeah. When did you first notice this crop circle?
We got a racing yard at the bottom here.
Yeah.
And the horses were coming up the gallops, which was just right by.
Yeah.
You'd be able to see. And that was about 6 o'clock in the morning. They informed us that a crop circle had appeared overnight. We had people up in the woods watering the trees that we planted. They finished about 9:30, 10:15. Gamekeeper was walking his dogs at 10:30, so it was between the hours of 10:30 and 6 o'clock.
It's quite significant. Have you seen anything unusual in the area? Lights, military craft, objects, anything of that nature?
I've seen a lot of. I've seen lights. Seen some bright lights.
Is that recently?
Yeah. But we also have the Salisbury Plains about 3 miles that way.
Yeah.
So there's always a bit of activity over there. But we thought it was to do with that, but it could have been. It was quite close, and it might have been something else.
Yeah, 100%.
And as my house is out of sight, I can't say for sure what it was.
Yeah, and the historical significance of this place, we talked very briefly about your Bronze Age settlements in line with the churches over to the left side over there. Would you like to go into that just briefly?
So we have a Bronze Age settlement, a field up on top, a field over, then there's a burial stone, and then we have, in a parallel line, we have the crop circle, and then all in line with the church, as you can see.
In the different distance, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Have you noticed any unusual behaviour with any sort of birds, your animals at all, livestock,
I've
pets?
noticed my cows have been staring a lot this way up on the hill there. I noticed that yesterday. Today they seem a bit more settled. Now, I don't know why that is. They're used to people, so it won't be people. I don't really know what that is or what it was.
Have you experienced anything like this ever before? Or is this your first time having something so close to home?
I've never experienced anything like this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have made crop circles here. As a matter of fact, I've seen crop circles in Wiltshire for a year or two. They used to be quite often every summer, but
Yeah.
we haven't seen them.
Wow. And just last off, how has this affected you with the amount of people coming in here, your crops being damaged itself, and kind of the stress it could be putting onto your area?
We've had to charge because this is malting barley. It's a high cost crop.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been a particularly easy season, and the market's not particularly good. And we also want to get it under control so we can manage it rather than people just walking from all directions.
Yeah.
Because it upsets the staff and upsets the cattle.
Yeah.
So we need to keep it controlled.
Yeah.
And the cost of the damage. We're trying to recoup a little bit of that back in.
It's 75 metre circumference, and I just last off to say is if you're coming here, please be respectful of the landowners, the people that work around near the animals as well. Please talk to Julius directly if you want to come here. They are open. And what time do you guys close and open at usually?
Normally 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night.
6 o'clock at night, yeah. So yeah, again, as long as you respect the area and you inform Julius and his wife what's going on, just be mindful of other people working here because it is a working farm, and just keep it as that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for coming
You're
over.
a legend.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, Julius.